Okay, so this is the next type of Pythagoras theorem questions that you could be asked. So these ones, you're not going to be looking for the longest side anymore. We're going to be looking for the shorter ones, at either A or B. So as long as you label it right, the next bit's fairly nice. It's just practicing it. And then what we'll be doing is later on, we got to be able to work out which way to use. So whether you know you're using the short side or you're looking for the long side. But we're just going to practice just the finding the short sides first. So as I said before, the first thing you need to do is label it. So if we're labeling the sides, remember the opposite one against the right angle would be our C. And then A and B doesn't make a difference. Okay, next thing we write the formula. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and then we put the values in. So A is X, B is 3, and C is 5. Now as you notice, before when we were doing the other ones, the X was on its own on this side. Now it's not, now it's with a number. So you've got to think of it, I guess, similar to an equation. That's the best way to think of it. So before I do anything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out what 3 squared is and work out what 5 squared is. So it'll be X squared plus 9 equals 25. Now I want the X squared to be on its own. At the moment we've got this plus 9, which we don't want. So I'm actually going to take away 9 from both sides. So we get X squared is equal to 16. Okay, then we're back to the stages that we were doing in the other video. So then we just square root it, which gives us that X is 4 meters. Okay, so these ones are not harder, it's just a different method because you're not going to have the X on its own. So we've got to square whatever numbers that you've got, and then you've got to subtract whatever is next to the X squared because we don't want it with the X squared. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so we've got this triangle here. Again, the first thing we need to do is always label it. So the side opposite the right angle would be C. A and B, again, it doesn't matter which way you've got it. Okay, write the formula. And then we sub those in. So A is 7. B is X. And C is 10. Okay, make sure that you've got the squares with them as well because that's what it says in the formula. Again, next step, actually work out what 7 squared and what 10 squared is. So 49 plus X squared equals 100. Now again, we want the X squared on its own. At the moment you've got this 49, so I'm going to subtract 49 from both sides. So we're left with X squared on the left and 51 on the right. And again, the next step always is to square root it right at the end. I think it's going to be 7.1. Okay, and don't forget to put the units as well. So because it's centimetres there, it's going to be centimetres there. Okay, so that's the answer. X equals 7.1. Okay, the last one, I might actually need to do the workings up there if I separate it. Okay, so I thought I'd add this one in just because actually it's the same method, it's just all those words make it really confusing. So I have done a little diagram at the bottom and we are going to fill in the numbers and actually see if we can work out what the question's asking. So it says, a ladder is up against a wall. The ladder is 5 meters long and reaches 4.5 meters up the wall. Okay, so first thing, this is the ladder here. We're told that it's 5 meters long, so I'm going to write 5 meters here. Okay, it then says that the ladder reaches 4.5 meters up the wall. So that means the height here, from the bottom of the wall to where it hits by the ladder, that must be 4.5 meters. How far away is the base of the ladder to the wall? So I'm going to make a triangle here because that's essentially what it is. And I'm going to try and make it as familiar as this as possible. So I've added this base to make it a triangle. We know that this side here is 5 and we know that the height there is 4.5 metres. So again, what we've been doing is step 1 is we need to label it. So this is the side opposite, so that must be C. Now this one I'm just going to call it a letter, so I'm going to call it X because that's what we generally do, because that's the side that we need to look for. And then A and B. Okay, next bit, we write the formula. And then we put the values in. So A is 4.5, B is X, C is 5. Okay, next bit we do expand them. Not expand them, sorry, square them. So that's X squared, that'll be the same, that's 25. Pretty sure it's 20.25, but let me check. Yep, good, 20.25. Okay, again, we want this X squared on its own. And to do that means we need to take away whatever's next to it. So take away 20.25 from both sides, which gives us 4.75. And then to finish it off, we need to square root it. Which gives us 2.2 metres. Okay, now at the moment all my answers have been to 1 decimal place just because that's generally what they ask for, but obviously be careful, it depends on what they ask in the question. Okay, so that's all in doing really, just finding the shorter sides. It does take a little bit of practice. Eventually, once you remember the formulas, you don't need to keep writing them, you don't get any extra marks for it. But the workings after that are really vital, just so that, let's say you made a silly mistake at some point, that at least you can prove in an exam that you actually know what you're doing. It was just that you maybe typed in a calculator wrong, or you just might have written 5.5 rather than 4.5 and things like that. So it's just being really careful and showing all your workings. Okay.